Okay, so again, a special welcome and a very good morning from my side, in particular to the participants in the US. For this, it's not just the morning, it's somewhere in the middle of the night. My talk will be about the AllSky7 fiber network in Germany with a small asterisk there, and the small asterisk means, well, the majority of the cameras are in Germany, but in fact, we also have some cameras, or we will have some cameras in the neighboring country. For the moment, we still call it AllSky7 Network Germany. So here's the outline of my talk. I will give you a short introduction, essentially starting from where I left last year when I did a presentation on the Free-Point and the AllSky6 cameras. Then I will tell you about the upgrades and the improvements that were done to the AllSky6, meanwhile AllSky7 camera system, which then actually led to a further rollout of these cameras. So the last few slides will be about the current status. So what have we achieved so far, or the impediment that we experienced during the rollout. And in the end, time permitting, I do have a slide with a few highlights or two fireballs that I may show on a small video. And then the 10 minutes are over. So let's start with the introduction. As I said, from those of you who joined last year's IMC that may recall that I presented a comparison from the Free-Point and the AllSky6 system. I've been operating two of these cameras side by side for over a year. So the main results last year were that Free-Point on the one hand has certain advantages, like, okay, it's been developed for a very long time. It's more mature than the AllSky6 system, both when it comes to hardware, software, monitoring portals. There is already a large network, Free-Point network in Central Europe, primarily in France, but also in neighboring countries, in the Netherlands, in Italy, some cameras in Germany, whereas there are just a handful of cameras so far of these AllSky6 cameras in Europe. And we have a large team behind Free-Point. It was a state-funded activity with a team of professionals, whereas AllSky6 is primarily driven by one amateur, which is Mike Henke, and it's all privately funded. But on the other hand, my outline or my summary was also that there are certain advantages of the AllSky6 system. One is the system design. So AllSky6 is much more open in hardware, software design, open in data access, which is limited in case of Free-Point. We have a much more agile development, both with respect to hardware and software with the AllSky6. So with Free-Point, everything is a little slower in the end. And this may be a very important factor for, particular for amateurs, that in the end, AllSky6 cameras are all the less expensive. And looking at the technical parameters, in many parameters superior to a Free-Point camera. And this is essentially what we started with. So there was a network of 3 cameras, which we had set up, the first one in late 2018, but 2 more in 2019 in the northern part of Germany. And this is where we gained more experience and where we could really test the system, improve the system, make proposals to Mike. And that actually led to the system state where we are nowadays. So these 3 systems were, so to speak, the seed. And now let's come to the upgrades and improvements that we did. As I said, all the experience that we made, we were in direct contact with Mike many times, and we explained to him what was working good, what was working not so good. And these things have been directly incorporated into the system designed by Mike. So both the hardware has been improved, but all the software upgrades have been done based on our experience. The first hardware upgrade was already in early 2019 when the cameras were exchanged. So Mike found a better camera model, cheap model in the Chinese market. And when we exchanged the camera, so that was already immediately an improvement by 2 magnitudes of limiting magnitude. The early cameras had some thermal problems, which means that when it was getting too hot, they were shutting down because the temperature was raising too high. That is something which was improved by a better system design, the hardware design. We have introduced power bars. So most of the cameras are at some IoT power bar. And I mean, there's a team of us. Everyone has this app on his smartphone, and we can shut down and power up cameras remotely, which is particularly helpful. I mean, if we run into trouble and if the cameras are really not on site, but only remotely accessible. Obviously, a number of software upgrades. And then the most important thing when it comes to hardware was a decision to make AllSky7 all out of AllSky6, which means originally there was just one camera towards the zenith. and we did not have really a full sky coverage. There were some small portions of the sky which were not covered. This is what we found out, and that we proposed to Mike, why can't we exchange a single one, then is facing camera by 2 cameras. This is what he did, and this is now the new design which we see in the lower right. So lower left, that was the original camera which I bought at the IMC 2018. In the middle, you see the camera in 2019 after we replaced the individual video cameras by new ones. And the right one, that's the almost current system design, where the single one on top is a single camera on top is replaced by 2 cameras. And now really we have the full sky coverage. You may also see that the hardware design has been simplified, so it's easier to set up the cameras. There's new hardware in there, so there's a new Ethernet switch, there's a new power control board, which makes it all smaller and more compact, and also more easier to set up. Okay, what else did we? The other major improvement was original, the domes were without any paint, so they were completely clear. And that was one of the reasons why we had these heat problems, because you have all the heat incoming, and also we had some strewn light. And we have changed that we are now painting the domes from the inside, first with a silver and then with a black color. And also the cameras themselves, they get some additional light sheets, and this improves both, that we have no strewn light anymore, and we have less light getting in, less temperature getting in, less heat, and so we did not have any thermal problems this year again. We also added a rubber seal on top, because we realized that some cameras had some water getting in. This is also now in the past. We created a homepage which I would suggest to you to visit at some time. You find there 4 important pages. You find a map of all the cameras which were active. You see the state of the camera. So green means camera is active. Blue or red means we have a problem with the camera. You see also cameras which are planned but not yet set up. You can click on each station and you get more detailed information. We have one page shown in the lower left, which gives you technical information about the camera equipment and the software. You have one screen which gives you a live view of all camera system, which is shown in the lower middle. Live means every 5 minutes the cameras are doing a snapshot and you see what the sky is all about. And you also have seen shown in the lower right an archive of the most blended fireballs that we have seen, so you can click on the videos and see what we have recorded so far. There's also a mailing list where all the camera operators have subscribed and where we exchange information about these systems. Now let's come to the rollout. We decided that really, meanwhile, the camera design has a mature state, and we really can continue not just with these 3 cameras in Germany, but really start to set up a real network, an AllSky7 network in Germany. 2 minutes, thank you. There we did one important step in agreement between Mike and myself, that I will act as a kind of EU distributor. This works in the following way, that Mike is sending me the components for a bunch of cameras, or they are ordered directly from China to myself. I assemble the systems and I can ship them within the EU and can support the camera operators. So that is, on the one hand, that shares the workload between Mike, myself, and all the further members, but in particular, it saves also costs. We do not have to pay tax twice or 3 times. We had some particular challenges this year. One was due to Corona. We had some delay in the hardware shipment from China. We observed stability problems with the new systems when, for example, the system was too distant, or the camera was too distant away from the computer, or the lightning protection that we use was not really helpful. And we had also one batch of cameras which had some severe image interfaces, so we had to replace almost 30 cameras with new ones. And this is my last slide before we come to the highlights, which probably I cannot show anymore. This is the current state. So as of today, we have 8 systems active, all the green ones here, covering already most parts of Germany. We have a number of cameras already delivered to future stations, so they will get up in the next few days and next few weeks. And there are a few more which have plans and which have ordered systems, so that I believe that by the end of the year, we should have about 15 of these AllSky camera systems rolled out in Germany. Okay, and since I'm not yet thrown out, let's have a look at least at one highlight, one video to show you. So this is a fireball of January 5th of this year. We have on the left a still image from the pre-pour camera, and we have 2 recordings by AllSky7 cameras. So, okay.
I just go ahead.
Okay. Just show these 2 videos. So this is the camera of Andre in Lindenberg, which recorded this fireball. In the lower middle, we have a photograph of Jürgen, who was observing visually and also running his Canon camera. And the last video here in the lower right, 100 kilometers away, the same fireball from one of my stations in Kitzbühel. And I would suggest I will copy afterwards this link here into our chat window. I suggest you to click on this link. It gives a 2-minute video from Mike, which is a kind of promo video and which describes the whole process from recording, from analysis unto the orbit. Thank you very much.
Thank you. On the lower right corner, you have this reactions button and you can actually clap. So if any of you feels that Sirko is worthy a clap, please do it.
Thank you. Thank you.